major agreements this week on everything from military cooperation and tourism to cooperation on sovereign wealth funds. Sultan Haytham visited the wealthy state of Qatar in a bid to boost Oman's flagging economy. Oman is one of the economically weakest of the Gulf oil producers. To talk more about that, we're joined now by Dr. Marwa Maziad from the Defence and Security Programme of the Middle East Institute in Washington. Thanks very much for being with us. So one of Oman's biggest problems is that it's really carrying a lot of debt. How are these agreements with Qatar likely to help?
Yeah, Oman is carrying debt that is the product of some of the fluctuation of oil prices that go back to 2014. So that's an accumulation since that time. And also that was compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic and how that affected the finances of the country. So by signing these agreements, by reaching out to some of the Gulf countries that are actually richer than Oman, Oman is trying to seek the help it needs to overcome this economic crisis. So the investments that the sovereign fund from Qatar in collaboration and association with the sovereign fund in Oman would boost some of the finances policies that the Sultan of Oman is pushing for.
And this is all part of a drive, isn't it, by Sultan Haytham bin Tariq Al Said to modernise after he came to power 2 years ago. His predecessor, of course, was in power for half a century. So he's really trying to move things forward and modernise the country, isn't he?
That's true, and modernization takes different aspects, but one of the crises here in terms of economics is that he is putting the country on a short to medium-term austerity measures plan, economic plan, in order to overcome these crises of the fluctuation in oil prices and the pandemic. So he's definitely trying to modernize aspects of the country, but also the financing sector for the state. So these collaboration and agreements are just part of what he seeks to do with maybe other countries in the region as well.
And why Qatar then and not any of the other Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, for example, the UAE? Why didn't he go there first?
Well, actually, technically, he went to Saudi Arabia first. This is his second trip since he took power. And his first trip was back in July, and that was to Saudi Arabia. So in a sense, he visited Saudi Arabia as his first country, and Qatar now is the second country on his visit. But I think they are also very much, in both Oman and Qatar, playing the economic aspect of this trip and downplaying any political dimensions, because they don't want the conversation to get into, is Oman veering towards Qatar at the expense of UAE and Saudi Arabia, which is not the case. It's really purely economic for now anyway, and Oman needs the help, and it's seeking it from all the Gulf countries.
So would you say the Sultan is really steering clear of politics in the region? He's trying to stay neutral around the various conflicts and divisions that there are?
Definitely. This is the disposition of Oman, but also in this critical juncture where we're hearing all sorts of talk about a confrontation with Iran versus not. Qatar and Oman have held different positions from Saudi Arabia and UAE vis-a-vis both Iran and Turkey and Islamist countries in the region at large. So I think with this trip, they just wanna, both Doha and Muscat wanna focus on the economic factor. And I think that's welcome by both Saudi Arabia and UAE. As long as it's economic benefits, then sure. But it's really, if it took a different foreign policy direction, maybe it would have been alarming, and it hasn't. So far, everybody's on board with this trip.
Dr. Maziad, a pleasure to get your insight and your analysis there. Thank you very much.